Strickland's crying to his coach, saying that he needs to take it easy on him.
I know they definitely sparred because there was a video vlog. We've been offered a date and a fight. I verbally agreed my end, so we're just waiting on the contract now. And it obviously didn't break Strickland. I think if they fought for another 5 rounds, but if there was no time limit, they'd probably still be fighting now.
Some man they wanna chat shit till I knock 'em, ain't like I'm Jack Shaw. Rolls hot, rolls stack, my flow sharp like a hacksaw.
We're back.
Welcome back, guys. It's been a crazy weekend, hasn't it?
Mad weekend.
Crazy weekend of fights.
Yeah, it was quite. People were slagging the card off a bit, weren't they, before? But it was a good card. Obviously, start with the main event. Didn't really go the way we predicted, did it?
No, we thought if it was going to go 5 rounds, it was definitely going to edge towards Strickland.
Yeah, and to be honest, DDP probably looked. I know Strickland probably won the 5th, but DDP looked just as good in the latter rounds as he did in the first few rounds. It was an intriguing fight, wasn't it? Because the first round, Strickland come out and sort of just popped him with a jab 1,500 times, and it was like, this is going to be a long night for DDP. And then, second round, he started getting his wrestling going a little bit, and then just fair play to him, he made some brilliant adjustments and really made a fight of it. Because if you just watched the first round, you would kind of assume, right, he's just going to school him now. But it was a close fight, wasn't it? It was a really close fight.
At the end, I'll be honest, I thought they may have just put the nod to Strickland.
Yeah.
When the fight had finished, I don't know, it was like one of their moments, it was like, it could go either way, yeah?
100%. I've only watched it once, I haven't watched it back, and I usually like to watch it back because obviously I feel like at the time you're watching it, you always favour the guy you want to win. And also, I wanted Strickland to win. I think he's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
So I thought Strickland won. I think it was the first. People might come. It was either the first, the second, and the 5th, or the first, the third, and the 5th. But they were all close rounds, and even watching it like live at the time, I remember thinking, obviously, he clearly won the first, but I thought every other round was very, very close. And
them takedowns, I know that he didn't do anything on the end of them, but probably in the judges' eyes, they must make a bit of a difference.
Well, it's not just that. I think Mighty Mouse done a video this week, and he made a really good point. He was like, for a guy like Strickland, where he predominantly is going to come out and box, so you're not worried about him shooting for the takedown, you're not worried about him throwing up many head kicks and stuff like that. He's got a limited skill set. He can obviously do it all. He was champion of the world, but he likes to just come and bang. And I think the fact that DDP threw in a couple of takedowns didn't do a great deal with him, but then also that planted the seed in the back of Strickland's mind of, if I plant my feet and swing you, he's going to come underneath me. And then just forcing him to work a little bit to get up to his feet. It was a genius game plan. I think it was the obvious game plan that he was going to use takedowns, but it added in another factor that Strickland hasn't had to deal with for a long time. Like, when was the last time we seen someone try to take Strickland down? I can't remember. He's fought so many strikers, haven't he? Jared Cannonier,
Izzy, like that.
Izzy, the two guys, the German guy he fought before him, and the Russian guy before him. They're all strikers, and the fact that DDP is such a... But one thing we was right in is saying how much of a fucking monster DDP is. He's just a powerhouse. Yeah. Like, his striking so unorthodox, but it just seems to work. And like, you can see the impact it has when it lands. Like, he split Strickland open twice. I know they're saying it was an headbutt now though, but for me, really impressive performance. And
it shows though, doesn't it, how tough Strickland is, because no one's been able to put up with that. And you see, like, when you look back, Robert Whittaker versus Yoel Romero, look how much damage he took in that fight. But then against DDP, he just couldn't hack it. And then Strickland goes in there.
Same with Darren Till, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Darren Till was very much in the fight and was very much winning phases of the fight. But it's almost as if everyone DDP fights, the pressure and the power eventually cracks him. And it obviously didn't break Strickland. I think if they fought for another 5 rounds, if there was no time limit, they'd probably still be fighting now. Yeah. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was a good fight. Was it a robbery? No, I think it's too close to call it a robbery. I felt Strickland done enough to win, but you couldn't argue it either way. What they do next will be interesting. I think we see? You can obviously, the rematch is there, but they're both, Strickland's pretty banged up with cuts and stuff, so he's not going to turn around in time for UFC 300. We know they're looking for a main event. I think that Izzy fight, DDP and Izzy, the backstory's there. Izzy's a massive star. could slot straight into a UFC 300 main event. It's very much there now for them to make.
Does Strickland then feed back into that though, or is that slowing things up a bit much, do you think? Because you got Chimaev, haven't you, just waiting in the background, like being half promised a title fight.
Yeah. You know what? That's a good point. I mean, Strickland is kind of at the point now where he is one of the biggest stars in the UFC. Like, you look at the views he was pulling in on interviews, and just how controversial, as you've seen the thing last week where he went at the LGBT journalist, and you know, some of the stuff he says is out there, innit? But that draws views, and you know, you hear Dana saying, I'm not going to shut anyone up. I'm not going to put a leash on anyone. You say what you want to say, yeah? And the fact that he's like that, and the fact that he is such a big star, and I think people will probably be surprised by the pay-per-view numbers when you consider how weak a card it was. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if they just say, look, heel up, sit out. Because if DDP fights Izzy, he could slot in and fight either. Izzy's our biggest star. You know, they won the Strickland rematch. The DDP rematch, it was that close. I mean, whoever wins out of that, but obviously then you've got to factor in that Costa is fighting Whittaker. So Chimaev's floating about. Chimaev's never going to be far away from a title shot. I would be surprised if they put Chimaev in for a title shot. I know he's saying he was promised it, but I'd be surprised. He's only ranked 9th at middleweight. He hasn't got a win over a middleweight contender yet, and there's no bigger Chimaev fanboy than me, but that's just realistically, you know, if Costa starches Whittaker, or Whittaker starches Costa, they're going to be right in the mix. So I'd be very surprised if we don't see Chimaev fight one of them. Yeah,
that's kind of what you need to do with him. He needs either like a mega fight with a big star now, doesn't he? Or he needs to wait out for the title. But like you say, I can't see him doing that at this stage. Just because it was like, if he hadn't fought Usman, if he'd had fought like, I don't know, a top middleweight, then I think they would have just put him straight in.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're spot on, you know, if he had fought Costa and beat Costa, he probably would have had the title shot over DDP, to be honest.
Yeah, just because of the star power.
Of how big he is. But, you know,
how well, so DDP's like South African, like you see them all, don't you, in the, whatever they did over there, they showed a live showing. And obviously you got Chimaev's massive star, like in the casual space as well, but like having that following in Africa, like we don't really know what numbers he does over there, do we? It could be absolutely off the scale.
No, we don't. Like, let's just play devil's advocate here. Say him and Izzy fight now in UFC 300. You got, I know Izzy's from New Zealand, but he's African against a South African. Say they have a really close fight. Who's just say that rematch don't happen straight away in Africa? You know, Dana teased the idea of an Africa show this year. There's so many moving parts, but I'd be very surprised. You know, I see people writing straight away, like all the wokies, and there's so many woke fucking journalists and woke Twitter warriors. Like, this is the unlucky Strickland. Yeah, this is the end of Sean Strickland. It's like the end of him. Like, he's literally just lost a close fight to a guy who's 21-2, never lost in the UFC, and the views he's pulling in are way higher than some of the champions. So if you think like UFC are just gonna be like, oh yes, Strickland have lost, get him out the back where no one can hear him, or not a chance. Like
they want him more than
very
ever.
Worst case, he's one win away from getting another title shot. That's the worst case. Like, but I'd be very surprised if we don't see him back in the fight for the title by the end of the year.
Let's be honest, Dana loves him as well, doesn't he? Yeah, you see him like hanging out, don't you, doing different events.
They love anyone that's going to pull in big views. So for all you woke journalists out there to think this is the end of the Sean Strickland era, he's fucking sadly mistaken, I think, in my opinion. He'll be back. If he's not back in for the title, he's back in a main event somewhere by the end of the year. So
imagine they put him in Chimaev now for the number one contender. That would be a fight, wouldn't it? Do you see Chimaev's coming out saying that Strickland's crying to his coach, saying that he needs to take it easy on him?
I know they've definitely sparred because there was a video vlog on it. How the fight went, we don't know. But how the spar went, we don't know. But it's different in a fight, you know. And Chimaev's a fucking berserker. Again, he's a destroyer. But, you know, he did look tired in his last fight against Usman. I know they're saying he broke his hand in the first round, so it could well have been there. But, you know, Strickland over 5 rounds is a tough fight for anyone unless Chimaev can absolutely... You know, because we did see DDP at takedowns on him. And, you know, if Chimaev gets you down, it's a long way back up to your feet. But, I mean, we'll see what happens, won't we? It's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah. Bit like left field, but where do you think Usman's going to go from here? Because I haven't really heard anything since the Chimaev fight.
Do you know what? I'd like to see him stay at middleweight. I got to be honest.
I think he looked really good.
I
just think he didn't know how much to use on the night.
Like, you know, they actually offered him for that fight. he was saying they offered it as a 5 round to entice him to take it, and he was like, oh, I haven't really been in the gym. I want to be 3 rounds, but then he come out after and he said, look, I am a 5 round. Like that shows me. Doesn't matter how much training I've done. Because if that fight was over 5 rounds, Usman was coming on strong at the end of that third, but I'd like to see him stay at middleweight. I think why go back down to welterweight now? And because all the contenders at welterweight, Usman's pretty much beaten, minus Bilal. So why go back down and work your way up for a title shot when you just stay at middleweight? I wouldn't make if he does want to fight, he's probably got plenty of money and hasn't got to. But I mean, I'd like to see him stay at middleweight and make a go of it there.
Yeah. He could fight a loser of a Whittaker Costa now, couldn't he? And draw into like the big fights then.
Yeah,
Easy.
yeah. You could even slot him in against Strickland, couldn't you?
Yeah. Well, there's already a built-in story that he's beat Strickland, isn't he? At welterweight.
Yeah. So that's a big main event or co-main event somewhere. I mean, we'll see what happens with that. And another one to touch on. Did you watch Neil Magny and Mike Mallet? That was a fucking great fight. Like Mike Mallet pretty much whooped him for 2.5 rounds, and Neil Magny, the old dog, just
spoiled the party in Canada.
Just done what Neil Magny can do. Just doesn't get tired, doesn't stop, and then TKO'd him with 8 seconds left of the fight. Like typical Neil Magny doing Neil Magny shit, as they say.
That must be a hell of a feeling at the end of the fight, isn't it? Because you must be, well, I don't know, you tell me when you're going through that, you must be thinking in your head, fuck, I'm down here, I'm down here. And then to come off with that win, like,
pull it out. And it's not just that, it's like, imagine being Mike Mallet thinking, fucking hell, I'm sure you're a big win in front of my
probably stepped off and already 41.
Yeah.
He's probably there thinking, right, this is it.
Big win in front of my my hometown, and then literally stepped off the. Well, I don't think he stepped off the gas. I think he got tired, and then bang, there's Neil Magny. But also, I want to touch on Dana White just announced last night or early hours this morning that Kayla Harrison has signed for the UFC. For anyone who doesn't know Kayla Harrison, I think she's a 2-time judo Olympic gold medalist. She's 2-time PFL tournament winner. She's a beast, to be honest.
Do you think they must have paid her well to come over?
Very, very well.
If you're winning that £1 million PFL.
Yeah, like, I don't even know if her contract was up with the PFL. Maybe they bought her out of her contract or whatever. But I think that shows the star power she has in America. And she's going to fight a featherweight, I think. Oh, no, sorry. Let's check. It says by you.
I think it is, but I might be wrong.
I hope this doesn't play out loud. So she's fighting Olioma, obviously. So I don't know if that's at bantamweight or featherweight. Either one. I mean, she's a big girl. I'd be surprised if it was at bantamweight. But yeah, massive signing for the UFC, especially in that division. But the featherweight division is kind of dead, isn't it, in the UFC? So maybe she is going to go to bantamweight and make a go at that. I think she cleans up, to be honest. Obviously, she cleans up with featherweight. Now Amanda's out of the picture, but even at bantamweight, I think she cleans up. And this is probably why we heard Amanda Nunes talking last week about coming back, because she's probably heard whispers of this, and
she wants a big fight.
That's a mega money fight, especially in the US. But yeah, big news.
They still haven't got a main event for that, have they? Like, what are they going to do with that?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be very surprised if they're not banking on Izzy and Didi. There was rumours, I was hearing rumours of Nate Diaz and Dustin Poirier, but obviously now Poirier's come out. Poirier's fighting Saint Denis on the 299 card.
That was a bit of a surprise for me personally. I don't know about you. I know he was kind of stuck for an opponent, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But that is like, I feel like if he loses that, he's going to be like to the side of the picture
he is,
a bit.
Definitely. But it sums up the type of guy Poirier is. Like, coming off an head kick knockout, you could easily sit aside Poirier and wait for like the McGregors, the Chandlers, but he's fighting a guy who's 10 spaces better than around, and who is a beast as well. It's not like this is a fight him, he's an easy warm-up fight. Like this Saint Denis, he's a fucking animal, and there's big hype around him. So
it's kind of the Gaethje Fiziev scenario, though, isn't it? Again, you've kind of got to do that to just secure your spot.
But what I'll say is, if Poirier beats him, I think although he's 10 spaces better him in a rank, I don't think people would look at it as like, oh, well, he should have beat him. Because like Poirier, I'm pretty sure Poirier's the underdog in this fight, which tells you all you need to know about BSD. So we'll see how it plays out. I'm interested to see the fight. I'm really high on Benoit, so we'll see. But yeah, they're stuck for a main event, and there's rumours of Khabib flying about, Brock Lesnar.
Yeah,
I feel like it's going to be a bit of a letdown. Not that Izzy and DDP is a letdown, but let's be honest, if Dana broke the news tomorrow, or Khabib's coming back to fight fucking Chandler or McGregor, we'd all be like, oh my God. But, you know, I feel like it's probably going to be Izzy and and DDP. I don't see Khabib coming back whilst Islam's the champ. I feel like if Khabib's coming back, it's for a belt.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think, though, they've got some crazy fights they're trying to make, but whether or not they can get them over the line, I bet they've got some serious offers out there.
Yeah, I mean, Nate Diaz was probably one of the ones they were looking to get made, but there's rumours of him boxing Masvidal in Vegas in a boxing match. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it's all that speculation, but I'd be very surprised if it's not Izzy. I'd be very surprised.
Do you think there was rumours going around of Masvidal versus Mike Perry, wasn't there? Do you see that?
In bare knuckle? That'd be...
But I think Masvidal is basically saying it'd have to be big money because my hands, like, they're going to break.
Yeah. I don't see why anyone would want to fight Mike Perry in a bare knuckle.
No one's succeeded yet, have they?
You can't hurt him. And if, like, he hasn't got, like, the one-punch knockout power, but, like, everyone he seems to hit, he breaks their eye socket. Or I think he's one of these guys, Mike Perry, who's, like, literally made of fucking steel. So you hit him and it hurts, and he hits you, and it's like being hit with someone with brass knuckles on. He's just a massive stand. Did you see him ring Hunter Campbell live on his podcast?
Yeah.
And who did he ask to fight?
I don't know. I can't remember. He
asked to fight someone, and I think it might have been Nate Diaz. I think he was like, let me come back and fight Nate Diaz at UFC 300. And he was like, what? And the guy answered the phone, and he's like, what do you want, you crazy fuck? And he was Mike Perry's like, what the fuck's he ringing me for?
That would be a massive fight, though.
Massive fight.
Now, like, Mike Perry's stock, he must be like 5x what he was when he was in the UFC.
Oh, yeah. And, like, you think how well he's done for himself. I think I heard that he was getting paid 100 when he was last going off in the UFC. And obviously he wanted more money. He'd lost a couple... He was a 50-50 fighter, wasn't he? And he's kind of gone to bare knuckle. And I bet he's on $500 to $1 million a fight now.
He's that bigger star, isn't he? Without a doubt.
And look what he's done for him. So he's got this big podcast now. He's got massive sponsors. It's great to see, innit? You know, talk about, like, making the most of being a free agent.
Yeah.
Mike Perry's the man. I fucking love Mike Perry. I think he's funny as fuck. But
he's proper shone through, isn't he?
Yeah. One more thing to wrap it up. I might have a little bit of fight news coming soon.
Seen it teased yesterday by your
old man can't help himself. We've been offered a date and a fight. I verbally agreed my end, so we're just waiting on the contract now. I don't know whether they're trying to tie up the location or whatever. I got a rough idea of where the location is going to be. Well, I'm 99% of where it's going to be. I just think the UFC are trying to tie it up, which I'm assuming is why I haven't had the contract yet. So we'll see what's what. But keep your eyes peeled. I'm sure we'll have a little bit of news on it soon. It's not any time. It's not like in the coming weeks. It's a little bit of time away. Obviously, I've just gone back into full training, so. Still feeling my feet a little bit with the hands feeling good, starting to get my sharpness back a little bit, starting to get the sparring rounds in. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled, that's all I can say for now. And
look out, Jack Shaw's back.
Well. The tank's back, baby.
Rightio. Nice one, I think we'll wrap it up,
we'll wrap him up.
Nice one, take it easy, brother.